What is going on, guys? I am the alternate, and I have brought back my microphone out. And today we are doing the top 5 wooden roller coasters that I have ridden. Now, I'm going to start off by saying I have not ridden Voyage or Outlaw Run, and I'm sure those would both be on this list. I'm also going to start by saying that these POVs are windy, and also keep in mind that I do not film POVs anymore at parks. I am not allowed to. It's very dumb. In fact, you can get kicked out of the park for it. So I do not do it anymore, but I might as well use these files when I have them. So, without further ado, here's the top 5 wooden coasters that I have ridden. And I plan on continuing this series with doing the top 5 inverts next. So without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, coming in at the number 5 spot, and it was almost a tie between Ghost Rider and Mystic Timbers, but I decided to give the edge to Mystic Timbers, especially because I've ridden it a lot more and it's at one of my home parks. Now, there are a few decent moments of airtime, however, they're not as strong as I would have liked, but this ride is ruthless, and I do definitely love it. I love getting on it every single time I go. And it's a picturesque coaster when you walk to Whitewater Canyon, and I just love this ride. I would do it every single time, including Winterfest, and it still runs good then. The best seat is the front row, and I don't know, I just love this ride. The shed's a little disappointing, but the rest of the ride definitely delivers, and I think it definitely deserves a top 5 spot on my list.
We're going in the shed. Yeah.
Alright, coming in at the next spot at number 4, and I'm sure there's going to be some controversy as to why this one is above the other, but it's going to be the Beast. I absolutely love this ride, and I agree that it is the superior night ride at Kings Island. Now, some people say this ride meanders and does a couple of things, but I think for its age and for how it was built, it's definitely an excellent coaster. And people say, you know, Mystic has the laterals of the S-curves. Time every lateral moment on Mystic Timbers, and I bet you it doesn't even equal half of the ending helix on the Beast, which is one of the most amazing lateral city elements ever. And there's not that much airtime in this, I will be honest, but there's no feeling like going through the forest and just jerking and getting a little bit of, you know, lateral G's everywhere you go. There's a lot of tunnels in this ride, and I just think it holistically is an amazing ride, and I will definitely do this every time. If I see Mystic Timbers has a stair wait, I'll walk right by it and go straight to the Beast. So here's my POV of the Beast, and wow, I was watching that Mystic one, and you really do feel like you're flying. I forgot to say that. But here's number 4, the Beast.
Let's see if we can see. Oh yeah, there's the second train going. So we'll speed up in a second now. There we go. We're on the Beast. Hopefully it's not too cold out here. Beautiful. You can see fall taking place, sort of, in the latter ends of the summer here in Ohio. Just a little bit of cold wind in the face there, but that is freezing. Oh my goodness, that's cold.
Throughout the entire ride, please keep hands and legs inside the car at all times. Remain seated throughout the entire ride. Please keep hands and legs inside the car at all times.
This second lift is actually really fast. I'm surprised every time I get on this ride, we're already going over it. See the other team coasting the hill over there. Not team, but train. Oh my goodness. What's wrong with my speech today?
Coming in at the number 3 spot is a wooden coaster that off-ride flies through the inversion, but on-ride still somehow manages to deliver lots of hang time, like it was shaped perfectly by Gravity Group. This might be my favorite inversion, but this is Mind Blower at Fun Spot, and this is one of the most under-talked about and under-hyped roller coasters I've ever been on. I absolutely love this thing, and I'm so happy that I got to do it 16 times. I actually went to Fun Spot while my mom and sister went to Disney World, so I enjoyed my day here. I was the only one there when I walked in, but that made me really happy because this ride does not slow down full train or just one, and the amount of airtime on this that follows that inversion is just absolutely amazing. How I would describe this though is that Gravity Group made their new concept roller coasters, but with old parts. It's like Fun Spot wanted to save some money, so it is a little rough, but this did not bother me at all. I was too busy enjoying the airtime, and I would say this has better airtime than any GCI I've been on, and so I just really enjoyed this ride. And without further ado, here's your POV for it. Absolutely insane, and I'm so glad I got to do it basically all day in the dark and in the day.
Great airtime, great hang time on that inversion, great coaster all around.
Alright, coming in at the number 2 spot is a ride I don't have a POV for, but because this was the first amusement park trip I ever made outside of my home parks, and this is El Toro, A Great Adventure. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if this is better than my number 1, but it's been so long since I've ridden it, and I've enjoyed my number 1 so much that I had to put it above it. But this is El Toro. Now, it still delivers a lot of excellent airtime, an amazing first drop, and some amazing ejector hills that follow, and I absolutely loved the Rolling Thunder Hill. This was a ride that I only got to do 3 times throughout the day because I was so young, and now I would marathon it, and it was dead that day, but I would have definitely done this a lot more times. And this was just so long ago that all I remember was the great airtime, and it was buttery smooth when I did it. This was probably like 2016, 2017. In fact, I said this was smoother than most steel coasters I've been on. It was absolutely amazing, cable lift, pioneering, and intimate all the time, but I just absolutely love this ride, and I apologize. I've been skipping up on so many words in this video. It's been a long time since I made one of these, so please just forgive and bear with me. But here's some off-ride footage of El Toro.
He's gonna walk past and tell like, nah, you're gonna stop it down.
Unfortunately, I was such a little excited enthusiast to be there, I didn't shoot much off-ride footage while I was there. But that is number 2, El Toro. And coming in at the number 1 spot, a lot of you probably saw this coming, but it is Lightning Rod. I recently did this in my Dollywood trip, and I'm going to be honest, this POV is terrible. This was my first time on the ride, and I couldn't believe, after all my time waiting, I was actually on this. So I was just simply enjoying the ride, not trying to keep my head still or anything like that. But this ride just absolutely delivered on all cylinders. I find this wave turn better than Steel Vengeance's. I find a lot of these elements that are similar on Steel Vengeance are better on this ride, although Steel Vengeance is my number 1 and this is my number 2. This ride isn't the smoothest. It's gotten a little bit rough. For those of you who haven't ridden it in a while, be sure to let me know if you agree that this is rough if you've done it recently. And the launch, you know, it's alright. It's better than Mavericks though, because you accelerate a little bit at the bottom and then you accelerate a lot more as you're going up. So I like that aspect as Maverick just sort of, you know, gets a little acceleration at the bottom and then slows down for the rest of the way. But that quad down is the strongest airtime moment I have ever been on, and I've been on Skyrush and a lot of airtime giants, and this ride is just absolutely amazing, and I think it definitely deserves to be the top of a lot of people's list. I can see how people put this above Steel Vengeance, but for me the ride is just a little bit too short, so I was unable to do that. But this is the POV of Lightning Rod, and just try to bear through it if you can.
Yes! That was some nice. Wow.
Oh, that was fun.
First train of the day. Wow.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was very fun.
Give you that.
And that'll do it for my countdown of my top 5 wooden roller coasters. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. If you didn't, be sure to comment as to why. I know some of the POVs were a little shaky, and it's always really hard with the pivot heads, you know, to keep a good POV, especially because they're on my head and I might be looking around or something as I'm going through the ride. But if you made it, be sure to give it a like. Be sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'm going to keep bringing this series back, hopefully with top 5 inverts next, and maybe even a Let's Play Planet Coaster series. So be sure to stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Can you catch me?